My name's Timothy Hayes. I'm from Lake Macquarie. I'm 31 now and I'm an engineering surveyor working for the Jacobs Group. My spinal cord injury occurred on the 7th of July 2013. I was a pedestrian hit by a motor vehicle. Vocational rehab for me started quite early in the process. Even when I was in a coma in intensive care, my father maintained contact with my employer to let them know what the situation was with me and laid the foundation for the In-Voc program. During my time at Royal North Shore Hospital, I had a lot of discussions with my In-Voc coordinator about potential roles and what could happen, and commenced retraining toward a role in the office. This started with my employer providing an iPad such that I could start tutorials and start to relearn software that I may need into the future. Whilst I was at Royal North Shore Hospital, we started going to the workplace and just spend some time there and start to be familiar with the office environment and just get comfortable, really. My first visit, I was in a power wheelchair. It was fairly early on, perhaps 2 months post-injury. Returning from that workplace visit really gave me a sense that there was a hope that I could return to work, and pushed me to really want to return to work during that initial acute stage.
There was never any question in both Jacob's mind and Tim's mind about Tim's return to work. It was very evident very early on in the piece. Tim had a really strong desire to return to work, to return to the team that he started with, and to make a contribution to that team.
When I then transferred over to Royal Rehab, we started to organise regular workplace visits in the form of returning to work for 3 hours 1 day per week. This started about 3 weeks after I transitioned to Royal Rehab, and at first saw me in a manual wheelchair and using taxis to get to and from the workplace. Over time, this transitioned to using public transport and starting to think about upgrading hours. Although I've transitioned from a field-based role to an office role, there are still a lot of similarities. I still work within the same team of people and still work on the same practice area as well.
It's sensational to have Tim back a part of the team. At the end of the day, the work he's doing now, it really is no different to that he was doing 3 or 4 years ago. And I think the early intervention in terms of Tim's willingness and desire to return to work really have worked in everyone's benefit. Just pull another section through here and we'll have a look at that section through that driveway.
Post-injury, my role did shift from being a field surveyor to an office-based processing surveyor, essentially. So I took my skills had in the field and reapplied them in a different way. Certainly technology has had a great influence on the surveying industry. It has really allowed people to spend more time in the office and less time in potentially dangerous environments. Returning to work for me has in the end allowed me to be financially independent, but during the rehab process it helped to drive other outcomes. It helped to set physical goals and community access goals as well. It got me from the hospital setting out into the real world again and gave my overall rehab a sense of purpose. Getting back to work and getting back to life has now allowed me to move on and be financially independent. I now have a mortgage and my own home and something to be proud of.